We're gonna go ahead and get started. Phil, please join me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join us in 30 seconds of silence.
Let's silence phones and computers first.
Okay, thank you. And we're gonna start with citizens' communications. Do we have any communications from citizens? Great. Okay, we are going to rearrange this agenda. We have several items that are require us to go into executive session. So I have gone over the agenda with Lisa and somewhat with Sean. Does anybody have any recommendations? Besides, I know you can't see what I'm, but basically, I'll just tell you this. It's the general manager's report, the restricted
Where are you
covenants.
taking us to the top?
Hold on, wait, there's the restricted covenants, finance and audit, amenities, and legal will all be at the end of the meeting. So we're gonna try to take care of engineering, landscaping, any of the few items that we can just take care of. You guys can leave. Taylor, I'm sorry, but you're gonna need to stay while we go and executive some things.
No problem.
And then we will go through these items that I just listed.
So what do we mean about?
Or I guess, where are we gonna start?
Yeah.
Is that probably?
We're gonna start at number 2.
Okay,
But what I said was, number 4 is gonna be held,
okay, yeah.
restricted covenants is gonna be held, finance and audit's gonna be held, amenities, and legal. Those items will go after everything else.
Got it, okay. So you're putting everything under those headings, got it.
Yes.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve consent items? Minutes from May 24th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I don't think, do we have a report, excuse me, from the Owners Association? I know Sandy's brother just passed away and she's out of town. So if you have anything, would just reach out to Samantha.
I would.
Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and pass on that. Number 5, upkeep on fences and blockhouse. Do you have a report on that?
We don't have any upkeep as of yet. We'll get into that beginning in July, but right now, everything that's been done with fences has been handled.
Great. Number 6, report on GIS asset management.
Under GIS asset management, behind tab 6, you'll see that Matt McCracken with BGE just sent us a small brief memo letting us know that they created the GIS utility template and started on the first section of Blockhouse Mud, and they're going to continue on with the wastewater and water and storm lines into the system, and we'll continue to stay up with them on all of their.
Good. Anybody have any questions?
I'll just interject that we did complete the transfer of all the information we had in our records to BGE, several weeks ago. He said, thank you, haven't heard anything back, so.
Great.
Yeah, so.
Thank you,
that's why-
David.
You bet.
Okay. Report from Williamson County Sheriff's.
Nothing significant this month. We do have 4 or 5 deputies lined up to work the 4th of July event. And I did let Lisa know about some new brush piles that I saw pop up. I reminded the guys to make sure they're notating that in the DAR and to check parks. Other than that,
The brush piles are in yards or in parks?
in Jumano Park,
In
there
Jumano Park,
was 2 more that I saw pop up on Monday morning.
Okay, just one mention.
Great. Okay. Report from, thank you.
Yep.
Report from PR Communications Subcommittee. Anything on special events?
We're just getting ready for 4th of July. Everything thus far has been taken care of on all of our items.
I saw the report. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything on the newsletter?
A newsletter, we're actually working with CDMP. They did send us out a brief memo today, actually this evening, about the newsletter for July. So we'll be gathering it tomorrow and then be prepared for next week.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't have anything on transparency. Does anybody else? Okay, thank you. Resident survey. I think we pretty much covered that in our special session, but is there anything new?
Nothing as of yet. We're
Okay.
still working on it.
Thank you. And preparation for the Fourth of July celebration, and you have it pretty detailed in there, so thank you very much. A Hotspot did reach out to me, they have 100 tickets for an event July 21st, I think, so, I'll work with you all and the OA to figure out how you want to hand out those tickets, so I think that would be fun to hand out. Okay. Williamson County Fire Marshal's Office inspection report, do you want to hold that? Okay, we're gonna hold that one for executive. General manager weekly summaries beginning in July. Director Young, that's your item?
Now we're moving that to the end.
Oh, sorry, I guess that's part of her, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was confused too, apologies. Okay, so, something happened in one of the meetings and wanted to know what was going on in other subcommittees. And, I kind of agree with that, because, residents, when they're asking us about their concerns, they don't know that we're kind of subdivided off, but, and I've talked to Lisa about this when she's on full-time. I've asked for her to give us a, end of week. I don't want her to spend more than 15 minutes, preparing it, but just a quick, hey, we got these estimates, we made progress on this, but basically to let all directors know at the end of the week what's been getting worked on. But that being a allocation of her time, I would like to put it up to the whole board. But I think this would be for just kind of keeping the directors up to date on stuff in between the board meetings.
Stuff that we're not personally working on, but another subcommittees
And I
working on.
totally agree with that. I think that we've had this in the past, and I think it would be nice for all board members to be aware of exactly what's going on, instead of going into executive and having any background, and then we're having to make a decision. Makes it very difficult.
Okay, do you have any concerns, Sean?
No, I don't, just make, obviously BCC everybody and just informational, not for discussion.
Okay, thank you, Director Young, that's a good idea. Okay, PR communications, we already did that, sorry. Priority landscape trip, looks like you have a couple proposals, do you wanna do your update?
I do have one, I actually have one of those in the last meeting, about the shaded out turf. And, just brought that back because we were talking about giving another option for mulch. Well, the mulch that we had is mulch. We went out and, this is my fault, we spread it. Lisa and I talked about it, we were spreading it, getting taken care of. And I took all that and
It was
spread
a
it out.
collective
So I
fault.
apologize for that, but, didn't get ahead of my guys on that one. So I put that one back in there just in case you guys wanted to proceed with it.
Well, I guess the good news is that we have all that mulch taken care of, so that's good.
There's a little bit left, but yes, it is very close.
Okay, so do I have a motion for proposal 2473?
What?
That's those right-of-way areas that are rare.
Right, which, item, I'm on, I see 24A and B, I'm not in the right
It's
place.
A, proposal 2473.
Yeah.
I show.
Here.
Oh, yeah, I got it,
You
I
good?
figured out what one problem is. Sorry, yep, I'm good, sorry.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Just real quick, so Tripp, you were saying you already did something with mulch, like, I got a little bit lost, you were laying out beforehand what already occurred. That was
So I provided this proposal last month to buy mulch and put it in these areas where we need it. And then we all talked about using the mulch that was down in Jamar Park.
Mhm.
Right after that, Lisa and I talked about spreading mulch, and I had my guys spread the mulch, and they took all of it.
Got it,
So there's
okay.
nothing left to put in.
But the mulch got used though, so that was what I was trying to make sure I was.
Yes.
So the proposal's for $8,260.20 to purchase the mulch. That does not include labor, correct?
That's everything.
Oh, okay.
That's absolutely.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. The next proposal is 2632 for cleanup at the community garden.
Yes.
Have a motion to approve.
So have you done this before?
This is to take out more than we've done in the past. So they were getting out of hand, so we weeded them down, cleaned them up in terms of that. But we haven't ever really dug out the soil. If Bermuda grass growing in there, you're not gonna get it out unless you take it out. So that's what this is for, is to remove it and put in this. put it back in.
Yeah, my question to Lisa is this, how many of those plots are actually being used?
Well, I don't even have that answer for you at the moment. I'll have to get that from Amy.
It's taken off
Are they
right now.
50%, 1/3, do we have 20?
I'd definitely say probably 50% would be good. We actually have some residents that are taking double and triples on those beds, so it's revving up.
It's probably busier than it's ever been,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, but do I have a motion to approve?
Here, I'll motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now discussion. Cecilia, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, how often do you think this expense would need it once you put the weed barrier in there?
It should hold off, I mean, it's probably gonna be a year or two, should be fine. I mean, Bermuda's Bermuda, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna find its way back in there, because I think we all know how Bermuda is. But, I mean, I would think a year or two should do it, I mean, it's gonna come back at some point.
So we would be budgeting about $6,000 a year to take care of this?
I'm looking, if you don't mind me interrupting, I'm looking to get that area segregated within the current fence, but have that segregated with a deer-proof fencing, and then have that become, like, the gardeners can take care of the gardening stuff, and the plants that grow around it, and let them make decisions. Now, if it gets overgrown, then, you know, maybe we need to look at something else, but at some point, I would like them to take care of the entire area that is designated for them and get it off of the blockhouse mud regular maintenance.
Okay, so
Because that was
that,
what I was gonna ask, actually, that was my question, like,
Right.
I remember we talked about them doing more, and I didn't know if this was what we needed to do to get them started again, or if that what they were looking for.
Yeah, and this kind of goes into another item that I wanted to talk about, just the overall beautification of Mono,
Okay.
but yes, it all goes into that, them doing it. And I do believe that this being a first year, it's going to get kicked back off. Looking at like a March kind of kickoff working party, but getting some stuff going over the winter time, getting things set up, reallocating the plots, you know, finding the exact area that they're gonna be fencing at some point, but it should be more than full by March of next year, April.
Can I ask a timing question, I think more of a trip question? To Robert's point, is this something, I get what you need to do is get them set up right, is summer or winter, when's the easiest time for you guys to not with the plants coming back? Like, I guess if we're doing more work before people are gardening again, like.
I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be garden plenty for the fall.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna ask, this one.
I think midsummer.
Okay.
The other thing is
That's
that we
all.
have about 34 plots in there, so if there's only 10 that need this, that's a
Okay, I thought
good,
this
That's
was,
what I
okay, I
was
misread, I
gonna
thought we were
mention,
doing
Director
30, I
Roberts.
apologize.
Yeah,
I thought we
because
were
the other
all the
ones
plots to
are
start
being
with.
utilized. No, a lot of
Okay.
them.
There are
Right.
only 10 beds that are
That's
not
fine.
being used out of the 34 right now, so we
I
have
misread.
24 beds that are being occupied.
oh, so this is only for 10?
That's what, yeah, it says.
It is.
Renovation for
But
10
that
plots.
is, that is the only 10 lots that are left over.
So
Because
that's
the
what we
others are
get.
being used, I thought,
That is
okay.
I
correct.
was saying that they're all currently weeded right now.
Well, this,
Okay,
this
that makes
actually
sense.
stems from an email that we received from a resident that actually is maintaining the gardens and needs assistance, so that way they don't get overgrowth into their gardens.
Oh,
Okay, this makes it.
Okay,
So my question would be this, if we're gonna, I mean, I agree with what you're doing, I mean, this seems to be a lot of money to be working on 10 plus, but it's not your fault, but I'm thinking we've got to engage those people to be a little responsible for something that's being provided, because it's not like every blockhouse resident's getting a benefit from this. And so I have no problem with this being cleaned up now, but I think it needs to be monitored a little bit in engagement from those that are using the
So-
place.
so I wanna address that real quick. There are 24 beds that are being utilized. Those 24 beds, those gardeners are taken care of. So Trip didn't have to go in and take care of those 24. There are 10 that are not being utilized right now, and we need to clean them up so people will take them over. So, to your point, yes, the gardeners that are using them are taking care of not only their beds, they're taking care of the aisleways, many other things around there. So, okay, anything else, or can we go ahead and vote?
Yeah, it's not going to be limited to 34 beds and 34 families or 34 houses. There are a lot of times that people do their own gardening in their backyard. They want to have a share session and bring their green onions, and somebody brings their beets and they can swap them around. So it's going to be available for everybody to get the benefit of this, even though we're looking at 34 beds right now. I'm hoping to get some orchards going where peaches and stuff like that, so everybody can share. My peaches this year were a hit, by the way.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Thank you. And then proposal 2633, it's like we've already purchased the materials, and this is basically for labor, correct?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay,
And we authorized the purchase of materials?
Yes.
we did that last year.
We did?
Yeah, the invoice says that the purchase the materials in fiscal 2022, and it shows the invoice that we used. That, yeah.
So is there a reason why it wasn't done?
I'm assuming it's a timing issue, right? I mean,
It
people are
was a
using
time-
the
it was a
field, right?
timing- It was a timing issue, because it was right towards the end of the fiscal year. We put it in, got the materials, couldn't do the work, so that's why we didn't put any labor with it.
Okay. All right, you have a motion to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Kumano, one-year goals, Director Young.
So I've already shared a little bit on, Kumano, kind of the vision, but, going a little bit bigger. We're no longer using this building as a community center or meeting area. We do have a nice building back there, but it's gonna need some renovation, stuff like that. We've got some, things being stored back there, trailer. We have half of that building is good, it's like storage. I'm thinking sometime in the next budget, we're gonna start taking a look at maybe putting a facade on the outside of the building, maybe, doing some flooring and, insulating the backside. Fix that building up, make it a little bit, nicer so that we can start using that for the swimming clubs that wanna go up, but, another item is, well, first of all, I'd like to give a 1-year timeline for everybody that's storing anything in there, to have it removed, find another plan. I don't wanna have our plan and then say, hey, everybody's out of here in a month. So I'd like to give them, a 1-year notice, and then start working towards, beautification of that whole area. And I definitively, once that garden fence goes up, protecting the crops, I wanna bring down all that barbed wire, because that does not, it feels like a prison visiting camp, where you go in there and it's just not, it's not really comfortable. So, I'd like to get that taken out. Part of that is also gonna be getting some cameras back there so that we can keep it secure. When vandalism happens, we can catch whoever they are. But, I'll get into that later, but, maybe in the next budget. But for now, I'd like to agree that we can set a 1-year, and we can extend it if we don't do anything with it by then. But I'd like to give everybody that's keeping anything in there, I wanna give them a 1-year, find another plan.
Yeah, the only comment I have is Ursula and I were the previous board that approved a bond plan for parks. So we need to probably look at that bond plan that was approved by Ursula and I and the previous board, before we start doing limit. You know, we need to have more advice probably from Trent and then David, and just give some advice to this current board, the 3 members that are unaware of that bond package, because it's part of that, I think, is some of those works in there is already included in that bond. So we need to probably look at that too, Robert. And it's something you don't even know about.
I'm with you on that, in the direction that we go. I'm just wanting, at this point, I'm just wanting to say, 1 year from now, if it's not picked out of there, we're throwing it away. And then when we start getting into budgeting for the next year, the following year, then we can, take a look at how much we wanna dedicate to that, what we wanna renovate, what we wanna abandon, if we wanna put another bathroom in there, whatever it
I
is,
guess
so.
my point is, Sean, would you bring the bond package back on the next agenda so that we can all start looking at it? Because the voters approved that 2 years ago and it was passed, there was a plan that was approved by the board,
Yeah,
so.
I think we're all familiar with that. I think Robert's question right now is, do we all agree that we're gonna communicate with the people that are storing stuff in Humana, that they have 1 year to make other arrangements?
May I ask who it is that's storing stuff?
Well, it's the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts.
Okay, so it's the
Tidal
Boy
Waves
Scouts.
maybe there?
Tidal Waves is there.
Tidal Waves, so we need to
Is there anybody
address
else?
that and find out why we're storing their stuff.
Well, I think it was like a,
Why is
Was it
there
free?
neighborhood? Yeah.
But, so, forgive me for a lowly procedural issue, can we decide that on an informational item?
Yeah,
We can, okay, good. Just want to check.
good question, huh? Okay, well, Robert's just bringing this up to us for the first time now, so what if we all chew on it and then bring it back next month? Maybe we talk to the Tidal Waves, to the Boy Scouts, to the Girl Scouts, see what kind of impact this would be, and then bring it back and vote on it next month. Is
I
that
think
right?
that would be an excellent
I
idea.
like
We don't
that
need to take
idea.
any action, do that, right? Okay.
Yeah, just make sure it's on the agenda for next time. Is that all right, Director Young?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
It's gonna be tabled.
Thank you. Okay, David Gray, Services, your report.
Yes, ma'am, thank y'all very much. First of all, under general things, it wasn't on the report, but I checked the PEC easement, that grass growth is good. I've asked them to pull their erosion controls out, they haven't done it. So I'll check on this afternoon before the meeting, I will follow up with them. I can't explain why they haven't done it. They may have been busy on power or something like that, right? Park surveys, of course, are complete. They were completed in accordance with the original proposal. Information has been provided, the reproducibles or copies of the surveys. The title, we ran titles on, it shows all the easements, et cetera. That's been provided. I believe, Felisa, if you haven't gotten it or you need it again, let me know, okay? And also to Sean's office, we'll have it in your records. It's there and it's a good tool as you progress and if and when you progress on your planning on any of those areas. So that works complete. The final invoicing on that is on your agenda to get paid and it is being completed in accordance with the contract documents. So FYI, no action on recreational bond issue. I mentioned earlier the GIS information has been provided by BGE. We'll certainly respond to any additional questions or comments I have. Well, I did have a Teams meeting with the NFM site people, their engineer, regarding just some technical questions about tying into the drainage systems and things like that. It was a good meeting. We had an email exchange, so it's documented. And I believe that they're continuing in their design process and getting their site development plan prepared and ready to submit to the city. They'll submit to us as a part of that process. We'll be looking at it, certainly involve your general manager, your legal counsel, and take a look at whatever comments we may have on that. I think they are seeking some right of entry type issue. That's more, Sean, I'm not dumping on you in the meeting, I'm sorry, but I think that's more of a legal issue. We certainly don't have any problem with a right of entry, as long as they restore anything they may destroy. It's a survey, I doubt they're gonna do anything, frankly, other than put a couple stops in the ground or something like that, but I'll defer to Sean on that.
Is this, I'm sorry, is it uniquely related to just inspecting drainage facilities?
I think he wants to get his survey shots on the drainage for as-built elevations. That's what I would be doing.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Some of those facilities are in public right-of-ways.
Right.
I don't know if they candidly need our permission to go in a public right. It'd be nice if they notified, so if Lisa gets a call about what are these people doing in my street, but to the extent they're on district property, which is that little corner there, it's not unreasonable to, have your legal counsel advise you on making sure they don't go in there and get their surveyor hurt and turn around and have some kind of issue. So I'm not gonna get in your business. We're certainly fine with whatever you work out on right of entry, so FYI on that. And on an unrelated matter, you may recall at one of the previous meetings, I did tell the board that we had been approached about doing some work on some new commercial property down around the event center. We have been asked to submit an RFP, request for proposal, RFQ. We did that. We were not selected. So I just want to advise the board that we'll not be working on that. How that affects the board, I don't think it does, but certainly we will not be working on it, just FYI.
Thank you for that, David.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
And I'll move on and get out of your way, so
Yeah,
I'll
feel free.
conduct your meeting. Thank you all
Thank you.
very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
report from directors from Crossroads.
Thank you. You can find my report behind tab 28. You'll be able to see on page 3 of my report that we do have a high water loss coming in at 14.44%. I am waiting to hear from James Shealy. I do anticipate for him to be reaching out to me in July, so we'll begin our hunt on finding this water loss. Moving on, you'll be able to see on page 5 that we did send out 202 collection letters and we did have 9 terminations. We currently don't have any write-offs to report. And you will be able to see in my packet that I actually did include a letter that came from Crossroads and TCEQ. Actually, I thought it was in there.
Yeah, it's in here, I read it.
So I just wanted to kind of give you guys again, just a brief update. Operations, did receive a call out from the ground storage tank of a high level. We received 8 of them that night previous, into that Wednesday morning of June 14th. What we found every time that we were coming out, that it seemed like it was more of just a call out, like the alarm system was going incorrectly. When we came out that morning at 9:30, we found that the GST had actually started to release water into the creek. We were able to bring out our operations and maintenance department and find the reasoning for that. We had a solenoid that actually was causing the clay valve not to close as it's supposed to. So we were able to get that solenoid fixed. It's just one of those things after time, it happens. So we did have TCEQ come out. We did have some residents that had mentioned some dead fish. And TCQ actually did mention that it probably could have very well been the hot weather for the fish. He was able to find live turtles, tadpoles, all the things, so definitely not anything chlorinated issue. So we're back to good, and if you guys have any questions, we can answer.
So how many gallons was actually,
70,000 is what they calculated,
okay.
yes.
I think that's in the letter, right?
That's correct,
Yeah.
it is in the letter as well.
Okay. All right, let's, so no write-up, so no action on that. Report from TDS, that is in your packet. I think we really need to go over that. 30 stormwater management program. Do we have an update on that? Nothing? Okay. Report from services subcommittee related action. I saw that there's a report in your packet, so you can read that if you have any questions. We're gonna go ahead and put legal on hold. Number 40, report from the case conference. Director Young.
I'll put all my details in the actual report if anybody cares about that. I think, the most important thing that I got out of that was, what you can and cannot recycle. My intention on the communication subcommittee is to kind of go into some of those details. I had no idea you cannot, those HEB plastic bags that are so cheap, I always recycled those, but that's not where they go. But there's a lot more information, that I learned. I want to get that in the newsletter coming up. I mean, I don't know if we want to go into like the overall. Okay, or are we also wanting to talk about overall and maybe looking at?
I've got that as an agenda item.
Okay, great, that's it for me then.
I have my report too. So I didn't bring one for everybody, but what I took away from it was, that it was really informational speakers. There were some not so, but they also ran into a situation where a lot of speakers canceled on them. But I think the Firewise was very important, the Pflugerville. You know, that's something I think with this huge, because I actually went on to my risk assessment today, and we're in a moderate fire risk right now. So I was thinking, you know, that's something that we could push out immediately to let everybody just be a little bit more aware of, you know, outdoor fires and things like that. So I think overall, I mean, the benefit is networking. There was a lot of networking. I hung out with TDS a lot, and then met some other people. I know y'all met some people as well.
Yeah, I think the Firewise, I did like that, and I actually asked Lisa that we needed to do that. I think we should add that to the website where it's always, you know, showing our current status. I wrote a memo, and I will tell you that I was very disappointed. I thought it was a waste of taxpayer money. I've attended 3 other ones that were much better. This one, the speakers, there was maybe 2 that were worthwhile. The one thing I did take away is the general counsel for the legislative committee. Is that
John
counsel?
Yeah.
His presentation was on open meetings, which is great because it actually applied to our ethics training that we need to take. And one thing he stated, which when I asked him about it, he couldn't respond yes or no to it, but he had it basically in quotes, was if you're recording your meetings and you're posting your meetings, you don't need to have minutes. And that could equate to about a $20,000 savings for us
A year.
a year.
Did you ask the question if?
I said, it's stated and I said, is that an or? And he said he couldn't tell me.
Right.
And Sean looked it up and said, actually it is. So we don't have to do minutes. I would like for us to consider that, and that's another agenda item, but I'm gonna stay on case for a second. I think that the other speakers were lackluster. I think that, if you look at their website, they have very little on their website. Their, board didn't make any attempt to talk to myself or to a new director. I think there are many opportunities, especially at the ABA lunch. It would have been very easy for them to go around and talk to each table and meet directors. They didn't do that at all. I even think that their agenda items were lacking, and I'd sent them 5 ideas, like the storm cleanup, the copper lead issue. And it's interesting because I sent Taylor this memo to attach to my expense report, and she was heading to the AWBD, and she said all of my items I suggested to Trent were being covered at AWBD. We're already members of AWBD, and I'm gonna recommend that we do not renew with Case next year. And one of the big reasons is AWBD has 960 members. They have more resources, just look at their website, there's so much more there. And their conferences are in Houston, Dallas, or San Antonio, or Austin. They're not 6.5 hours away in South Padre. And I agree with you, the networking's important, but the people I met, Wells Branch, Round Rock, talked to TDS, talked to BG&E, talked to the playground guy, I could have done all of that here in Austin. I didn't have to drive, that far to do it.
It being a central, area thing, I don't understand why it had to go so far south to like a high-end beach resort when everybody there was from the capital area.
And
So
one of
is
the
this new
other,
leadership there? Is this Case going through a new board or
Well, I
something?
will say this, I think the current president probably lacked a little bit of leadership, and I think they've had a lot of interaction issues, because I do agree with Ursula. I've been attending ever since they started it, is that it has had some very much more productive sessions. That's one of the reasons why I've always encouraged this board to get back into AWBD, and I think I went to their legislative session this last January, because anytime it's here, they have a session when it's in Austin. But I think the Manpower and Trey Larry is a lobbyist for AWBD as well. So, it's like you're getting the same thing. And we learned, Steve Bennett and I learned about the copper at AWBD. So,
and I was so surprised Case didn't cover that, even after it was suggested months ago.
So
They
this,
didn't cover it.
yeah, this conference was kind of a bust, but do they do anything else?
they do luncheons and they do some gatherings, social gatherings. I will suggest this, that we keep our membership for now, because Trent Rush is now the incoming president. And Tier, whatever her name is,
Tira Holcomb.
yeah, she was Corby's, he's the county attorney, it's her husband. And I thought he was excellent, by the way. I thought he did a really good job. But I just think it's not a bad idea, because you could see some improvement on it. And I did my survey today, and I recommended that it go to a little bit more local area. But I think it's worth the board
How
still
much is
being a part of
the membership?
$600.
For the board?
Yeah, just for the membership.
And when does it expire? 'Cause we probably-
December, I think.
So, we're not gonna get a refund if we quit now.
No, I'm just saying, don't renew it in December.
When does new guy take over?
He's immediately.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, we have to December to see if it improves at all.
Okay, I'm gonna have it on the agenda next month, now that I'm just sharing this information with you, you can read my memo. I still want to just drop it. I know Sean, AB, your firm is a member of AWBD. Crossroads is not, but I talked to Andrew, and he does sit on some of their subcommittees. So I do want you all, if you guys haven't looked at their website, look at it, because I don't want us to go to a case conference next year. I don't want to expend that.
Boy, I would like to do AWBD next year, just focus on them. And then at the end of all that, we could take a look and let's have both of them, let's do neither of them. But at this point, I don't feel interested in going to another case conference in a year from now.
So I'm a veteran of both conferences. I've probably been
So am I.
to 9 or 10 case conferences, and I probably went to probably 5 or 6 AWBD conferences. I will say that case conferences over the years, sometimes you get a great one, and then there are off years. I know this year that they had some speakers back out last minute. With that said, AWBD is just different. It is significantly larger and just the scale provides for a lot more opportunities. So there are big sessions where literally hundreds of people will be at. They have small breakout sessions and it's a 2.5-day event, so.
Yeah, and aside from the, hundreds of miles traveled back and forth, we had 2 days of conference, which were both before lunch. And so it just seemed odd that we didn't have a 1-day conference, and then, take a day off or take a night off of the hotel bills. But, it sounds like they have full day when you go to the AWB. And then, not this coming year, I think just now, but I think the following year, it will be in Austin, so we wouldn't even need to get a hotel to stay there.
It was this year.
They also have 2 per year, so there's a winter and a summer
Yeah.
conference. I don't think the summer conference typically comes to Austin, that's the
It
bigger of
always
the
is
two.
at Galveston or.
It was
Um,
Corpus this year, right?
Corpus,
Yeah.
San Antonio, Fort Worth, it
But they were
rotates.
meeting in Lubbock now this year too, weren't they? They meeting-
I think
their
they were
list
at
is on the
Corpus this
website.
year.
Yeah.
I-
But it's much more powerful. You have Houston MUDs, and I'll just give you a little bit of history. What had happened is it was just so focused on Houston and Harris County, because you've got Harris County MUD number 9,000, and there was no really issues being brought to Central Texas issues. And that was why it was created, was because they felt like they needed to do this. And the people that initially started CASE were actually very, very strong. I mean, it was wonderful. They recognized board members. I mean, there was no recognition of the board. It was more like for the consultants, and I think those are critiquing and things that need to be brought back. And Trent, I think, can listen, because he obviously works for MUDs, where Tier's just an attorney, and she sits on a MUD board, so I think there's a little bit of difference with running it. But I did bring the summary that Trey Larry provided to us, and you probably are already aware of
I'm
most
curious
of it.
that.
My cryptic notes, but.
Yeah.
Now look at
I didn't really find a lot of value in that either.
Well,
except
but he didn't have
entertainment.
anything to say, because they were all being tabled.
I know, but
you know?
and there was one about how to pass a bill. Most of us know how bills passed. If you don't, I really don't think that our residents think it's that important.
He's the guy that's sang all the Jimmy Buffett songs with all the
Trailer.
lyrics.
Yeah.
Bills in the neighborhood, like is he calling our stuff bills? or
Down in the
past bills?
legislature.
No, he's talking about like getting,
That's
because
super
other
important.
MUDs need, well, Elam MUD, you need changes your
So there were
statute.
2, so John Heininger from
I
TLC
get that it's
presented.
impactful, but I
He
don't
kind
see
of
that
gave
it's
a high level.
Okay.
overview.
I don't wanna spend too much
Yeah,
time
sorry,
on
we can
this,
talk about it later.
but I do want you all to, a little bit of homework, go back and look at AWBT's, website. We are members. You should be able to have a membership log on.
You should.
I think Taylor can help you with that, or Lisa. And,
Probably wouldn't be bad.
and look at, my review. There's other things like just there were mistakes in the program that were just embarrassing. So, I want us to vote on that next month. Okay, case conference is covered. Nothing on, does anybody have anything on code of ethics? Okay, originally we were gonna talk about subcommittees, but the director that wanted to do that has asked me to hold off. Future board meetings, we can talk about that in a little bit. I do, number 45, before we go into executive. 45 and 46 kind of go together, Robert. I think you wanted to talk about eliminating the meeting notes. And I actually want to talk about maybe enhancing the meeting notes and not doing the minutes. And the reason being is we don't have to do, because we have recordings and we're posting them, we don't have to do the minutes. And it's a lot of Sean's time, it's a lot of Denise's time. I think having our meeting notes and maybe enhancing those a little bit to where we do, every vote's on there, who voted what. And I think because the one critique I've heard about the recordings is it would take a while to stream through and see, okay, where's what.
Yeah.
But if you had the meeting notes, you could quickly look and see.
Well, would the meeting notes be next to the link? I mean, as long as they're together, because no one's gonna watch for 2.5
Didn't you
or
post it
3
in the
hours.
YouTube
Yeah.
That's exactly what
description of the video?
You could post a link to the PDF that's on our website in the YouTube.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
that's
say
a good idea.
timestamps for when events occurred.
I do have a recommend, on minutes, at the end of the year, oftentimes your auditor goes through the minutes just to see what's been considered. So I would recommend just a greatly scaled back minutes. The reason your minutes are typically pretty lengthy here, and that's usually why there's so much time dedicated to them. So I would recommend just a greatly, just tracking basically attendance, who's at the meeting, and just basically agenda items and motions.
Well,
But that's what isn't that what the meeting notes are
But-
about? We could just add the attendance?
But I think, I agree with Sean, I think you've gotta have a summary, more like a summary of what the meetings are, not such word by word sentences of details. Kinda like the county, I think their minutes are pretty clear, and, you know, maybe we need to go away from the paragraph version and do a more condensed. I think the minutes benefit a lot of residents, and I think they're worth the value, versus just putting a recording or summarizing these, notes, 'cause it's all on the keeper of the minutes is the burden on that, so.
Sean, real quick, so are you thinking like a legislative style, like the legislature literally just says, convene,
There you
here
go.
was who was present,
Yep.
this bill came up, testimony was taken, it was closed or voted, like, is it, you have like very, very, like, do you read something along the lines, I guess what you're saying is like, picking on, we did item 20, meeting was convened, all directors were present, blah, blah, item 24, you wouldn't even cover the motions, you just simply say it was approved by the board 5-0.
Probably cover motions, but that would be probably the extent of the detail, and there just wouldn't be a lot of color. So even if it was not discussed for an hour, if it resulted in, a motion, second.
If we do that, then there is no need for the meeting notes, because it'll be, we're basically,
Well, yes, but your thing's not, you're not contemplating, you don't have this time stamped, right? And y'all wouldn't contemplate time stamping the minutes, right?
Correct.
What are we, is the plan to timestamp the meeting notes?
No.
So I think it's just we're calling the same thing different things. Maybe yours has what you were suggesting has a few more details in it. But what I'm understanding is that it would be maybe more, it would be a middle ground between the meeting minutes, the way they exist, and the meeting notes, right? It would be much more terse than the meeting minutes, because you can see as much detail as you want in the video, right? If all you wanna know is, hey, I cared about item 28, how did that go? Motion, second, vote.
Well, this is what the county does, and that's what I would be thinking more.
The reason I was, you were talking about, if part of the purpose of not doing full minutes is we're posting it online, right? For resident purposes, having some way for them to not troll through 2 hours worth of video.
Exactly.
which would be what I was thinking the meeting notes
Sorry.
would do.
That's why I was sorry,
Yeah,
you were
that's the
jumping, so.
Yeah, I think, it's something far more terse than the minutes, but a
Yeah,
little bit more.
when you look at the county or the
Yeah, I've
city of
seen
Cedar Park, right, I'm
Yeah.
just suggesting that we go to that type of a minute.
Okay, so do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. I would like to motion that we do the meeting notes and not do the meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Should we
discuss?
Me? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, Sean, if it matters whether an auditor reviews our meeting minutes, or does it matter what we call the thing that the auditor reviews?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd like to check in with your auditor to ask that question.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, because if what matters is the information in the document and not so much that they're officially meeting minutes put together by you, then I don't know that it makes a difference, certainly not to me.
Does it matter for bond counsel? Would they need that information as well?
Probably not, but maybe. I would like to do a little bit more work of just really a little bit more research. To be sure, the way the Open Meetings Act reads is that you can, if you're doing recordings, you don't have to do minutes.
Okay, then I'll pull my motion and just direct you, Sean, to do a little more research. I think maybe what bond counsel and our auditor has required in the past, maybe is catching up with technology and may not be the same as what it was in the past, so.
Well,
Well,
the
actually,
other thing is that I'm concerned about is you're running a chance that something could be deleted accidentally or lost that's virtual, and that recording is gone for some accident, I mean, it doesn't have backup. Whereas y'all store all of our records, I think for preservation purposes, I think we need a condensed, something, but just looking over the county, and like I said, Cedar Park, I think there's a better way instead of doing paragraph details, she said, blah, blah, blah. I think we do need that.
Okay, let's let Sean do the research and come back and have a discussion next month.
It'd be-
Okay, because I was gonna ask, we wanted Sean to try for next month to do this concise minutes, maybe, that's what I was, before you withdrew your motion, but.
You want to do that?
That was kind of, I think it'd be good for us to see, because we have something recorded right now, and then we could look at actual copy for this meeting, next meeting.
Okay.
Of what a concise style, much
Yeah,
shorter.
try that.
Yeah.
Your life's
And we
gonna be
could see
easier.
that. But do I need, does that be just?
That's directive,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank
Chris,
you.
our recordings are shared on the cloud, correct? Or saved on the cloud?
Yeah, it's YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Do we have
So
an
there's no chance.
agreement for Chris to work for the district? Is it a letter agreement?
Mhm.
We have a
Yeah,
contract?
we all voted on it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I
we
would've
did.
been
We
out.
agreed, no, you were here. It was, we did an an hourly rate.
So it's an agreement on confidentiality and all that stuff, right, Sean?
Sean wrote it up.
We have that?
Yeah, I'll pull it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
When we do vote on this, I want us to have a backup plan in case computer gets fried or something happens, account gets locked out or whatever, so, I'm thinking that if Sean would continue taking the notes as he does, and then once it's posted, then we can not make any further on it, we just do the quick, concise notes,
Okay, so we have two directives for you.
backup plan.
Okay, we now are going to go into, executive session. Chris will put up the note on the video, and, no decisions will be made in executive. We will come out, we are seeking legal advice on matters related to, lifeguard for hires addendum to their contract, as well as their invoices. Taylor, we may call you in.
Are we
Do you
doing
want,
restrictive covenants, or we?
No, we're gonna do two different
Okay,
executive
that's
sessions.
do we wanna do finance first?
No, because we need to talk about their
Oh, okay.
invoice.
Yeah.
I was just-
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and that's why I asked Taylor to stay, because we may call her in there.
Okay, thank
Sorry, guys, and Mark, we may have to call you in, we'll let you know, okay, just to clarify some questions. Yes, yeah, that would be great. Okay. We are out of executive session, no decisions were made, we did not vote on anything. So, our first step is going to be, we have an amendment to the current lifeguard for hire contract. And I want to, do we have an emotion? Do we have a motion to approve the amendment?
Motion, oh, go ahead,
Dr. Johnson, okay, and a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Okay.
We wanna have a brief summary of what's happening here, since that was all this, what the amendment does.
Sure, I mean, residents, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, our pool contractor, Lifeguard for Hire, has reached out to us and asked to, we mutually agreed to get out of the contract. We have worked on an amendment so that they can get out of the contract. Their contract was through, I believe, the end of September. We have agreed with their attorney on the terms of the amendment. So effective after we make this vote, Lifeguard for Hire at the end of the pool hours today, 8 o'clock, will no longer be the pool contractor for Blockhouse Mud. Okay, any more discussion on the terms? I think a couple of us were a little uncomfortable with, part of the terms, but we're doing what's best for the district.
I'm in favor of ending the contract, but I would rather get a more accurate amount, so I'm not gonna be able to agree to this,
To pay their last invoice.
correct, until I know exactly how much we owe them.
Okay. I agree with you, and, yeah, I agree. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, great, thank you. So carries. So now this exciting time. We have asked 3 different companies to give us proposals. And we have Mark here, who,
Mark, last name, please.
Merquin
Yes.
from Premier Pools. And he has been really pleasant to work with and ask questions. And so he's given us a proposal for the interim, so we're looking at starting tomorrow through the end of September. And then we're going to put out for bid in September for an annual contract. Mark will submit a bid, maybe we'll get a couple others. And that'll be a different contract. He's also been able to supply us with 2 different options. One would just be the lifeguarding, and then one would be lifeguarding and the pool maintenance. So, does anybody have any questions for Mark?
No.
Okay.
Not at this time.
I guess we should vote and then I'll ask him this question. So, do I have a recommendation on the proposals?
I make a motion that we approve the separation of the management and operations of the pool, but the mechanical side be done by Progressive.
Okay. Okay, so it'd be your lifeguard.
Premier would be the lifeguard, and then Progressive would be the
Okay,
chemical.
for the interim time,
And we're only planning this through September.
end of September. Yes,
Okay, so this is approval of items 20, 21, 22, and 23.
yes. Thank you, Director Shoemaker.
Well, I'll make a motion to,
That's all right.
the progressive quotes.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, those are the progressive quotes.
Oh, so, okay,
So we
sorry.
won't, no, we won't.
Premier first.
We'll do that, yeah.
Okay, apologies, that's what I was trying to make sure.
Okay.
38.
38.
Any more discussion or questions on the Premier interim contract?
You have a motion, do we have a second?
Yeah, you're the second. Johnson was the,
No, that was on, yeah.
oh, okay.
I
We have a
thought
motion.
I thought I'd moved to approve.
I made the motion.
Okay, I'll second if we can overdo that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See you in Denver.
Okay, I just want to confirm that you would be able, you're gonna bring your staff in tomorrow, get them familiar, and that you all will be ready to open 4 o'clock Friday.
Yes, we will be able to do that.
Okay, yes,
Do, let's wait till after the vote.
I think you're gonna ask the same thing I was going
Yes.
to. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Welcome to Blockhouse.
Thank
We're
you.
we're thrilled to have you on board. Yeah,
Thank you for your patience.
yeah. So one thing I do want to ask you is, the chemical, things have already been removed.
Okay.
So it's on manual right now. And I know this, we're just throwing this out to you. Is there any way that you could make sure that the chemicals are okay tomorrow morning before Tidal Waves starts their practice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I
Amanda,
can run over there tonight. Check on it.
yeah, I really appreciate that.
I'd like to add, even though, thanks for your patience, but more importantly, thank you for ramping up so quick in the
Yeah.
middle of summer. That is way more than waiting around for an hour, like getting people ready to line them up so that we can have a speed bump tomorrow on the pools, but hopefully get back into full
Yes.
operation, as soon as possible. And
Fourth of July.
please, let our GM know if there's anything else that we could do to help you get ramped up.
Yeah, you guys can become best friends.
We already are.
We're very grateful to you, thank you.
Yeah, and you can hook them up with the keys and
Yeah,
such
we'll get
tonight,
them
okay. Okay, great. So we do have a couple other proposals, which is with Progressive. So as I mentioned, Lifeguard for Hire has already removed the equipment. So we have a proposal from Progressive, and I wrote over mine, is it QA231?
Yes.
2318
8 and 9.
1-8 and 1-9.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
for $18,000, you have a motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, I'm just making sure I keep these straight in my head. So this is for the chemical conversion of Apache, right?
Yeah, Tomlinson.
Well, that 2319 is Tomlinson,
Yeah, okay.
right? Are we doing both?
I thought we were
Let's
gonna-
do both.
Apache is 2318, and
Eight,
then
right.
2319.
Yeah, I thought we
I'll amend my motion
Okay.
for both.
Both, okay. I do want to let you know, Lisa has just done an outstanding job through this whole process. And they are ready to come out tomorrow morning and start the installation.
I'll have them on site by 8 AM.
So hopefully there will not be any hiccups or anything like that.
And I think, just a note for a lot of you, that you may not be aware of this, but they actually have been our chemical operator before. So this isn't a first thing, they're very familiar with these tools.
Good.
So it's really nice to see them back in the neighborhood.
And it actually was a recommendation that we get rid of that equipment. He said it was archaic and there's some things wrong
It
with it.
certainly doesn't work reliably.
No, it doesn't at all.
So,
Okay, so Cecilia, you had the motion, did I have a second?
Yes, I second.
Okay, any more discussion?
Lisa, are there any gaps that we're missing, to help this transition all happen? What are we missing?
Nothing right now. Actually, when I'd spoken with, Mark, we had discussed, possibly needing to close down the pools just for him to do some lifeguard training. When I spoke with Progressive, Commercial Aquatics, they guaranteed me that we actually wouldn't need to close down the pools, but it does definitely help them in their conversion. So we do believe that everything will be ready by 4 PM on Friday afternoon, for us to continue on.
So you're going to be pushing out a communications?
Yes, we actually do have Canva posts already ready to go. I'll update them. I also do have Progressive Aquatics on standby as well. so that way they're ready to actually maybe roll out tonight, so everybody's prepared and in place.
So, once we reopen, are there gonna be any more anticipated, pauses or stops or closures, or are we going straight back to the old schedule?
We're going back to the straight old schedule again, with probably a couple of added days in September, but we'll discuss that.
Actually, I thought we were going to just do 8 hours on Friday and on Saturday and Sunday.
Correct, if we could just do 8 hours over the weekend for us, that
Just
way
to
I've
get
got
them up to
longer, 'cause
speed.
we're
That is
still-
correct.
What about July 4th?
Right, yeah.
July 4th will be ready to go.
Regular hours.
Yeah, we just need to give them a couple of days to get their feet wet, get your sea legs, your pool legs.
I do want to ask one question. Your insurance and everything's been provided, I'm assuming?
Yes, well, I do have the insurance, I will provide it, and that is an additional,
And work with Mark.
So
And you'll
Sean,
provide certifications as well?
yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's important, I don't know if you heard that, Cecilia, he, it's written in there, he will provide certifications, okay? And doesn't hold on. Okay, so, can we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great.
That was 18, 19?
Did we vote that we can vote, or?
That was,
Sorry.
that was items 20 and 21.
Okay.
it was 18 and 19.
Yeah, 23, 18.
Okay, so 23,
Well, you need 22. There's
22,
another one
22 is
for
the next one.
23, 20.
Okay, so do I have,
You have a
I
motion.
have a motion for 22?
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great, so they are all set.
Do we need a motion on 23?
I have
23 is just a wrap. Is that just a,
So 23 is actually just something that we wanted to bring to y'all's attention. I'm going to make sure
Okay.
that we have the money for this in the next
Okay.
fiscal year budget, and I expect to bring that back at that time.
Oh,
No
so it's
problem.
not necessary?
Not necessarily
So
at
we're
the moment.
tabling this
We're
one?
gonna table
Yeah,
it.
that's what I want to make sure we got
Yes.
everything, that's all right.
Yes.
Apologies for being pedantic.
No,
Make sure we
good,
all were-
thank you.
So can I ask you real quick,
Yes.
is this regarding just Tomlinson and Apache?
It's just Tomlinson, only Tomlinson is the only pool that you need a double sanitary system because of your slides.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
You're telling me that those aren't there now?
They were using a different system.
Okay.
You're gonna have a better sanitary clean with UV.
They use an oxygen.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think now we need to go back to restrictive covenants. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and do finance.
Lauren's here for that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting geared up for budget and tax season, so.
Hey, Taylor.
All right, y'all should have a copy of your bookkeeper's report in the packet, and you'll see it is
Fancy.
Packet.
new,
Very
yes.
nice.
We've just done a little bit of revamping, so, really all of the information in the report is the same. You will start to see kind of some new pages in there, which I think are helpful, just kind of snapshots for y'all. So the first page 3 there will show you your operating fund kind of snapshot. You also have, which again is a big topic of conversation for this district, that bottom kind of section is your reserves. So you'll always have that available at a very quick glance, for your reserves on hand. Checks for approval are on page 4, check 21831 through 21862, and then I have those supplementals that were passed out as well. I did want to get the final approval on that lifeguard for hire. It's the total is the 28,000, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Right.
But that 28,000 includes the other 3 checks, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
across multiple checks.
Okay, so
Yes.
She means the amount, not the checks.
Okay.
Sorry,
Not the
yes.
check,
So
not-
you're gonna write,
Total amount would be 28,000. There's a blank one in there for y'all to sign. That is payable to lifeguard for hire, and we will void the one that's on here, which is 21867.
Is that right here?
Sorry, 21866.
21867.
66, sorry, I can't read across the line. So this one was originally the full amount. We will withhold from that $27,000.
so they're just getting 1 check.
They're all separate checks.
They're on, yes. So this is the
For
one
a
that's.
total of
gone.
28,000.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you know the
Sorry.
difference to write
I
that
do,
check.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, I had done it that way just because I wasn't sure what action was gonna be taken
Yeah.
tonight, so
No,
the
that's good.
total will be 20,000. Other than that, obviously you've got your supplementals in the packet. if you take a look at page 18 and 19 will be your debt service summary. Page 20 is another new report that y'all will see in your packet. This is gonna show your investment profile. So again, it shows how much we've got invested for you based on the fund. And then you'll kind of see in that middle section there what the current rates are, for different investment options. And then again, other than that, it's really your standard report, tax
Yeah,
reports in there. Sean, for the minutes, we had the 2 transfers, and then no investments for approval this month.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the checks and the transfers?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Great. So also, number 17, which kind of goes under number 16, is we have an amended budget. And we do need to vote on that tonight, so if you want to hand that out.
Yes.
I think the edits, the amendments to it are highlighted in yellow, so you can quickly see.
No, it has changed from what's in the board packet.
Okay.
Option one.
So there's an
No,
option
he is
one.
both of them.
Yeah, keep both of those.
Right,
There's an
he comes
option
back
1
here.
and an option 2.
Option one and option
And
two.
then that's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I didn't realize that, I thought it was the same thing every time, I apologize.
It seems normal to pass it, right?
So it's option, and we don't have option.
Yeah, so one of these is, for all of the operations, and then the other one was just for lifeguarding.
Okay, so you just need to look at option 2 then,
Yes.
and I guess it's not yellow, but you can see it's kind of shaded.
Grayed out.
Where we did make some amendments. David, do you want to go for this, or Taylor, which one?
Go ahead, Tim.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to. Obviously, again, we are kind of looking at this as an aggregate for the year to see where y'all are currently at. Again, when you set your budget in the fall, we do our best, but things happen, primarily storms seem to just keep happening. And so again, we've updated your budget to kind of reflect some of those things. Obviously, the subcommittee has gotten together on this, and addressed items where we could. Again, obviously on the expense side, but then also on the revenue side, you'll see your interest earnings on temp investments, because interest rates are great. We've like almost doubled that, which is wonderful. So, we, again, have reflected all of the changes that were recommended by the subcommittee based on different actions that y'all have taken throughout the last several months.
So this includes the new equipment that's gonna go into both pools. It includes both contracts. It
Where's
also,
that at? What item is that?
It's, where is that?
Which one? The pool equipment.
Is that 16626 Apache pool improvements?
Nope, it's gonna be 16622, management and lifeguards. Sorry, I don't know what else.
oh yeah,
So it's on the next page.
It's like the-
okay. It also includes the storm cleanup. We had to make that more realistic, as well as 16734 district management fees. We have a proposal in the packet and to have our GM go full-time. And so that is in there to show that we can,
I thought we were doing that at the next year's budget, but we haven't approved any increases yet.
we couldn't approve an increase until we had an amended budget that we could show that we could do it. So that's why that's in here.
So, kind of just talking about the general manager, we have not done a review, so I think the contract requires one, so let's do that before we,
We can do a review tonight if you want. It's only 8.
no, I mean, I don't think we're prepared for it, I'm not, I would rather do it at another meeting, I don't think that,
I don't think that Blockhouse Mud can tolerate not having GM here 40 hours a week. Like, there is a lot more on her plate than she can do in 20 hours a week.
no, I'm well aware of that. I also know that other general managers have done it with less hours, so.
We've gotten less done.
I'm just not, if we're gonna approve this, I'm wondering if we should be talking about the general manager contract, because I need to.
It's on the agenda, the
I
general
know,
manager
but we're
contract.
approving this amendment now with these increases in it.
Mhm.
So I don't, I think.
Do you want us to pause on this and talk about the general management
Yeah,
contract
I
right now?
think we should.
Okay, then let's go to the general management contract, which
Unless somebody else wants to, I mean, are you okay to?
Yeah.
Because I just think, there's a lot to be said about the contract.
Okay, item 35, everyone will pull up the general management contract. So basically, we have her, she's at 20 hours a week right now, and we're actually having to pay her when she's working extra.
How much is the extra? And how many hours is it extra?
It varies, it could be
Yeah, it
8
varies.
hours, 5 hours.
It varies
10
on
hours.
the week, and she's gonna be working the 4th of July event. So we approved that so that she could be there.
So how many actual hours, Lisa, do you work here in the Walker House?
Well, I actually am here more than 20 hours.
I mean, in the Walker House?
In the Walker House, yeah, I'm here Monday through, actually, I've been here Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So, and I try not to come in on Friday, but there's just been a lot of things that have come up that need that attention. So we've had special meetings and lots of full stuff, so.
So my concern is, taking it from where it's at, $13,000 to $22,000 a month, that's $264,000 worth of tax money.
Mhm.
And, I just don't think that's very fiduciary responsible to be increasing it that way. I think we might look at hiring our own individual, GM versus a contract with a third party, because that is a lot of money. I mean, that's $264,000 for a full-time GM and a full-time admin. I think it's, what is it about, what's a penny a tax rate right now at $40,000?
I'll have to look it up.
So it's all-
Wait, hold on, okay, we gotta check that, but, well, the other problem too, it's kind of squirrely, because our value's gonna go up.
I know, and I understand there's a lot of demands, there's been a lot of catch-up, but I'm concerned that we need to really think about whether this is something that can be actually justified. Maybe we should look at another option and look at maybe bringing an individual in that the district actually employs and don't pay these added other fees, which are add-ins to this, because you're going through Crossroads to get this person. It might benefit the district a lot more to look at what another person would be, because I mean, I'm thinking a position like this, I think in Northtown Mud, I think their person went from 80 to around 100. They're only about 100,000 a year, and they do a lot with parks and things like that as well. And they have their own parks people as too. So I think we might look and compare notes, before we just go in and say, let's add this person, and then the taxpayers have to absorb all of it. And I think the projects that have been addressed have done really well, but I think you're gonna find out that after a while, when things start smoothing out, is it gonna demand that much time? And I'm certainly not in favor of adding, because if there's an exempt employee, there shouldn't be $125 additional hours for anything over 45 hours. I think that's highway robbery, and I think it's unfair to the taxpayers to be paying those additional fees, because we can't control all that, but we may be able to control it by monitoring how the hours are being used. And I think we're just kind of giving carte blanche, and this isn't about Lisa, this is about the position, okay? And I think it's excessive, and there's no way I can support this
Okay.
contract.
Do you have anything else on the contract?
Yeah, I think that the board should be considering this, and whether or not this is absolutely something that the taxpayers need to absorb.
Okay, do you have anything else, anything new? In addition that you haven't mentioned?
Well, I definitely don't like the additions here, and I think I'd like to make sure that they're here at the Walker House, and when they're working and not remotely from home. And I think also, is the staff gonna be utilized and how are they using them? Because we also, in addition to this fee, we pay a separate fee to Crossroads for the parks guy. So that's another cost to the taxpayers.
Okay.
So how much is that? What do we pay Crossroads for the, Travis, the park guy?
It's in your packet. You could pull it up.
I'm gonna ask Lisa.
I don't have that.
Could you find it out for me? Okay, thank you.
Or is it not in this
It's not in
contract?
that contract. This is only the GM.
It's in the Crossroads invoice.
But it's in a different
Oh,
contract.
well, it's an invoice in the books then.
That's what
It's in the
he
Crossroads
does.
invoice.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if we wanna take a look at our parks guy, shouldn't we just put that on a different agenda different meeting. I don't know why we're bringing
No, I'm
in
asking,
Travis on this.
I'm
This is a
totaling
GM.
everything up for everybody to have a more comprehensive understanding of exactly what they're about to agree to. I mean, this is a lot of money.
Okay, Director Shoemaker, your thoughts?
Can I come back around? I'm doing.
Sure.
Reading and doing some things.
Okay, so I'll go. I think it is absolutely needed, and I think it's a very wise use of taxpayer money. I have seen Lisa in the district and working, and, she doesn't always have to be at the Walker House. She should be at the pools, and she should be at Kumano, and she should be meeting contractors in different places. I think if we went with an employee, it would be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare because if you're paying an employee $100,000, there's a lot of other costs that go along with that you have to factor in. In addition, I think it's good that Crossroads is there. Historically, we have micromanaged our GMs, and I don't wanna see us micromanaging an employee. There is no guarantee that the employee is not going to leave after 6 months, after dealing with some stuff that our GMs have had to deal with. And if something happens with Lisa, Crossroads is on it, and they're gonna have to replace her. I think she is working tons of hours, and you have done a fantastic job. I have talked to consultants, I've been very happy. I have talked to Andrew, I know he went out and talked to all the consultants. Areas that we did have some concern about, you have worked on and owned everything, and I think that this district is in better shape right now than it has been in a long time because of your leadership, and with Amy, and with Travis. Oh my gosh, he's fantastic. So I do support this, we do have room in the budget, and I think it's a wise use of taxpayer money. And actually, in addition, I've heard great things from residents about both you and Amy. And they are seeing you face to face more. You guys are really busy here. I've been here a few times where there's just people coming in all the time, and it's really nice. Okay, Director Young.
I agree with, I would happily just spend my time talking about how great Lisa is. I'm just gonna ditto what you said. What I do wanna say is, if we move to a individual GM to take over, that person does not have Crossroads, and what Lisa has done this past month with babysitting pools and making sure everything's getting done, she's also having to get somebody else on board. So I believe that the recommendation came from Crossroads. They've worked with other pool vendors before. If we don't have Crossroads staffing our GM, we would lose that year of Crossroads, and for them to be able to advise us and help us go to a new vendor or stuff like that. So everything that Ursula said on Lisa, absolutely, but on top of that, I think we need to stick with keeping our GM with Crossroads, and I hope we do not delay another day or a week or a minute until she is with us full-time, 40 hours a week. That's my 2 cents.
Director Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, great, Lisa. No disagreement there. I'm nervous about the idea of an employee. 22,000 is high, but I do believe that our neighborhood at least currently requires full-time. It's a demanding neighborhood, as I'm learning on this side of things. Yeah.
Can I?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry.
Director
And can I ask you a question? You may have done this in the layout, so I was looking through the budget as y'all are doing this, so real quick. Lisa, I think I caught, like, you're gonna be here 24 hours a week. What are that?
40.
Well, 40 working, are you gonna be 40 at the Walker House or 40 working for us, period?
It's 40 working for you all, period. He does have it written in there, 24 hours at the Walker
Walker
House.
House.
But I do find that it's easier to be here on site as opposed to away. It just makes it better for me to work, not remotely, so I
Yeah.
would definitely be.
Well, I guess the question, when you're not here, though, Amy's here, right? Like,
Always.
and here's, I guess what I'm trying to get to, is to get this on the record, I guess, and talk through it too amongst ourselves, is what would our hours be here at the Walker House under this new contract? Like, what would it, I'm assuming we're gonna say something here like, 9 to 5, 8 to, like, what does that look like tentatively?
We currently, right now, and we'll continue on with 9 to 3, that's on the door.
Yeah.
Now, Amy and I, since we've been handing out and doing these key fobs, we're still here till 4:30 and 5 o'clock, even
Okay.
after the 3 o'clock sign. And on Fridays, we say that we are here by appointment only, but we actually keep the door open and we manage and handle everybody. So again, we're still pushing it a 9 to 3 and 9 to 4, even though that's what we have on the.
That's kind of what I figured I wanted to talk about, because I guess, I guess that is one of the complaints, I guess, I do hear from residents in the past in particular, was that, you know, if you needed to do something at the Walker House, it was hard to come down and do, if you had a day off, right? Well, they're only here from like 9 to 1 on every third Thursday, so I think, I think we need, what y'all are doing, we need more coverage, right? You know, I think we need as much coverage as we can here, whether it's you or Amy, I don't mind which one of you is doing it. And I think that, you know, we couldn't afford this on a regular employee. Like, we can't, I mean, because from this end, you know, Crossroads is picking up things like your retirement benefit, your group health care, right? We couldn't offer group health care to an employee, we couldn't offer a retirement benefit. We could try to offer like straight salary, but it's gonna be difficult to find someone who's willing to do a full-time job, unless they're lucky and they have a, you know, they're not in a situation they need to provide health, they've got a spouse.
Military.
Yeah, or something like that, where they've already got healthcare through some other way, a spouse or something else, that I just don't, I'll be honest, I just don't see how we can do this for our own employee. I don't see how we can employ someone for what we're paying Crossroads even to have, because, you know, we're getting Lisa and Amy, right? It's like.
And you're also getting an Andrew Hunt when I'm on vacation.
Yeah, well, we're getting coverage, like, yeah, like,
No matter
that's the thing, is
what.
like, we wouldn't be able to have coverage, and we're getting essentially 2 people for, as part of this whole contract, and so I'm like, we could not match that for any kind of experienced, qualified employees. I mean, I would.
Okay, all right, let's go around one more time. I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything to add.
Aside from the pros and cons, just, what are your thoughts, Lisa? Can we give her a moment
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
share?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for asking. Actually, I'm really invested in the Block House now. I really like it a lot, especially getting to know the residents out here and give them the opportunity to be able to get more into your government side of things. There are a lot of things that I'm not able to go do right now, talking to other city managers and understanding, you know, the development that's gonna be going on around Block House. There's a lot of things that I still can be doing, but for the limited time that I do have right now, the residents all want the same thing. They're excited that we're here. They're glad that we're able to give them resources. We've given out or, you know, assessed more than 1,059 BREVO cards. That means that we've actually touched everybody's hand whenever we're doing this, and some of them we've even, you know, gone and taken it to their homes. There's a lot of elderly residents that hadn't been using a lot of the amenities that now they're excited to use. So I feel like we're kind of bringing it back alive. Not that y'all weren't alive before, but we're giving them another place to have a resource, and we really appreciate that. We like it a lot. And by we, myself and Amy. Amy has a lot of people here that absolutely love her. She's fantastic. And of course, we've gotten a lot of kudos from our parks person, and I couldn't ask enough of him. He really drives himself and brings a lot of things back to my attention if I'm not getting things from residents. So we're always proactively doing something. Yes, we've had a lot of stuff with pools going on, but we've got your sport court lights up already, and we've got other, you know, things that we're still working on. So we're still maintaining the district as we're going along, running through the water. So we're excited to be here.
Great, thank you. Okay, Director Young, anything else? Director Johnson?
I have nothing to add.
Director Roberts?
I just want to make it very clear, this isn't about Lisa as much as it's about the position. And because everybody seems to think that it's, you know, and I think Lisa's done an incredible job when it comes to bringing the district back up to where it needs to be. I'm just concerned, and I do know for a fact that we could probably hire somebody, and I get your comments, David, that there are some concerns with hiring an employee, but it works in other MUDs. And there's no reason why it couldn't work here as well. You know, and I think having the backup person like Andrew, yes, that's a benefit, because Andrew and I had a conversation yesterday about this. And, you know, he doesn't think we need somebody full-time either, but he went ahead and did what the board asked, which was to bring the proposal to us. I just want to make sure that we're using the taxpayers' money very wisely, and I'm always going to be that person.
I think every director should be that person.
Well, I agree, but I'm going to emphasize that I've always been, that's who I am, and I think that I'm concerned that we may see some fluctuation in our tax values, and, you know, here we are adding all these expenses to our budget. Are we gonna be able to maintain this budget? You know, because I get that we're an aging district, and I applaud you for what you do, and you and Amy are actually a benefit, and the residents love this, and I think it's important. But for this amount of money, I just have a really hard pill to swallow with this kind of money.
When is this contract renewed?
So tonight it's on.
It's renewed every year, right? So-
Oh, yeah,
And this is not, again, not you leases generally, but if we find out that there's a decline in resident demand, you know, maybe we just need Lisa, we don't need Amy full-time. It's not like Andrew doesn't have other districts they can work for. Like, I guess my thing is like, you know, this is not, I think there's demand for people to come to this place, to this building and use it, right? People want to get stuff from the district, they want to get things. And so I think at bare minimum, just for this one, I think it merits making sure we've got more coverage. If we want to revisit this after a year about what residents are demanding and where we need people to be, we can revisit that when we bring this contract up. But I don't think this is an irresponsible use. I mean, I guess we can just, maybe I don't want to get into the wrong meeting agenda. We can go through the Taylor. I've actually been crunching the numbers here. Let's go through it where we are. And, you know, yes, we have some interest income that is not normally there, but our tax collections were above. And, you know, the vast value of the majority of this district is in residential. Almost everybody that's got an appraisal cap has got a 10% increase coming next year, regardless of what Williamson CAD put on you this year because of the way the appraisal cap functions. Most people probably have 3 or 4. And so I don't think we're at any risk of declining value. I think we're gonna have a growing base that if we hold the line on tax rates, we can maintain our current level of revenue. And so and we can get into that discussion of the budget, but I just wanna make a point to the point about where we are.
But to your earlier point, if we
We
go
would need
along-
like a 20% decline in the market to start realizing a decline, I think, in values for this neighborhood.
Well, and so the point that you made earlier, you know, like if we go a long time with light and demand, I'll be the first one to look at adjusting the hours again, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
if
we've got,
needed.
we've got several big projects in front of us and, you know, maybe in a year or two, if those projects have all been managed and we don't have anything else big coming across, we need to do that due diligence.
I don't think there's any shortage of stuff Andrew's got for you to do.
And I don't want to
think
Debbie
we
down
need people
you
to
all,
need
but I do get the MLS data, and I do run a report in Blockhouse, and the decline of values is between 16 and 20% this year.
Okay.
But the problem is that's
Market value.
Market, yes, but the problem is everybody with a cap has, their taxable is so far below their market if they've lived here for any length of time. Like, we can do with the budget, we should probably ask Alvin Langford come by and walk through the deferred appreciation, but it's quite a bit. Based on the numbers from last year, there's a large chunk of deferred appreciation and taxable value.
Okay, so it's 8:40, everyone has had a chance to, share their thoughts, I wanna go ahead and full, vote.
Well, I do want to go ahead and get a motion, because I have one more thing that's not in the contract that I'd like to.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, you have something you wanna add?
Yeah, I'd like to put a provision in there that we have vetted contractors that the board approves, and that they're the ones that the board's, Lisa brings the list to the district. And then also the authorization of the GM on the actual spending. You know, she can't spend money that the board's not approved unless it's in the maintenance side of it, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, the subcommittees,
It's
there's
the-
subcommittees.
And I guess I should say the position.
Yeah.
I don't want this to sound like it's personal.
Yeah, so is there an amount that she,
I don't know, I just think it's something that's not in here that I couldn't find, but I think we need some type of authorization. I know we have a credit card limit in there, but I
like
think.
$1,000?
Yeah.
Is it 500? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's 5,000 now,
Good,
but I think, we need some kind of a boundaries, because I've always supported this, having a full-time GM, and that's something that I want y'all to all be aware of, that I have. In fact, you and I talked to Mona years ago about bringing somebody on board. And then I also think there just needs to be a little bit more guidelines on, you know, exactly how the contractors are being vetted and brought to the board and then things like that, because we just need,
Would that be part of her contract?
I think it probably wouldn't hurt.
What do you think, Shoemaker, you're making eyeballs?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not, how would you write this? And this would be
I
more
don't
a question
know.
for Sean,
I'm
like,
asking.
I don't quite see how we operationalize it into an actionable contract.
Because you're giving this person, and if you want to be more of a GM run, which is what we're running to, and we're going to, then we need to have some guidelines so that they've got something to follow, you know.
Then, Cecilia, why don't we make that a policy and not part of a contract? I think that would be more in line.
Well, but contractually, you've got to hold them accountable, the position to that.
Well, she has to adhere to our policies and procedures.
Well, I
Sean,
don't think
you were
it's
asked
that
the question.
enforceable.
Well, yeah, I think you probably could insert something in here, but I think the practical side and trying to get a vetted list of contractors that are approved with the scope of things that y'all do here, I think it might just have to be per job, you vet and then you establish that list, but then the next job you have to do an entirely new list. I think it might be, well, I like the idea, and probably something to work towards. I think that might be difficult to do in advance from my perspective.
I think, maybe we talked about it at a board meeting, but I know you and I have talked about it, that we should have like 2 plumbers that, you know, vetted, 2 electricians.
I
2
agree with
electricians.
that. That's kind of my point, is to say, so that there's no doubt in her mind, or the position's mind, that, you know what, this is what the board is asking. And this could always change with the next election. So.
Okay. So,
Everything does.
everyone in favor of this contract?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna vote no,
Okay.
just because I can't support it is not about the individual, it's about the contract pricing.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, now let's go back to the budget. We need to vote on the amended budget. So it is option 2. Again, it includes the GM, it includes the pools. We put the Spyglass asset management in there, which we've already purchased.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Okay, second for discussion.
okay, Director Shoemaker.
Just to confirm here procedurally, we're actually
I'm sorry.
approving the resolution that approves the budget. There's a resolution adopting the budget.
Okay.
Thank you,
My
Sean.
amendment, my motion is still amended.
And I mean, just real quickly, Taylor, tell me if I'm wrong on this, just skimming through things, right? We have beat on M&O tax collections, as item 14301, I think it was by about 20, I actually worked it out, about $33,000. We're beating park revenues on $30,000, that's item 14601. We came in ahead on interest income, which is 14802, by about $235,000. We had an insurance payout of 17,730. So basically, what I'm kind of getting to is like skipping the assigned surplus. Like basically, those are all things that we came into the black on our revenues this year, right? Which I worked out to work, you know, it's like 200 and I worked out. I mean, it was like $251,000, I think.
Okay.
Or actually 315,000. I worked it out. So basically, I guess one of the points that brought up in the prior discussion, right, that before we get to any change in what we're expendituring, right, and I'm gonna mention a couple of the one-timers I see in here, and confirm the one-timers on the expenditure, we came in 315,000 to the black, right? Now, we can't count on the interest income being sustained next time around.
Right.
But I think it's fairly stable to probably assume the property tax income, though, will likely be stable. You can adopt a tax rate that will bring in that same amount of revenue.
Right.
And so, but then like kind of working through some of the expenditures here, you know, we obviously reduced the amount in maintenance repairs to the water because we've only spent 47,000, that's 16,122 for those of the rest of y'all looking like we're able to take a big chunk from that. But you know, one-time expenditures, right? Storm cleanup, 16,618. We're unlikely to spend $360,000 next year, hopefully, on storm
I
cleanup.
sure hope so.
Yeah, you know,
But do we have, I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
Do we have a water loss that we're forecasting? Has that been added to this budget?
Water loss, no. Water loss is in adequate.
Has it been added to the budget? Because you're saying that we are at 14%.
Right.
So do we have that in this number?
We've got that number.
Okay, what item is it on?
So it should be under our water,
Water.
wastewater management, right, under operations?
So 14,201 revenue.
Yeah, that's revenue, be
Yeah.
an expenditure.
Hold on one
It'd be
second.
an expenditure, which item number is that? Leak detection.
You mean fixing the,
The leak detection, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
yeah,
So you've only got $6,000, is that gonna be
But in
sufficient?
Crossroads operations at management, I think we still have enough in there, and under our operations, because our operations hasn't used all of that, so for repairs, we could use it
Can we
again.
just move it over there then if we're?
Because we got,
forecasting it?
because you got operations, well, the other thing I'll say too is, we still have 200,000, call it 150-ish in maintenance and repairs for water, right there.
Right,
just saying.
that's it.
You know, and we didn't end up needing 100,000 in the MS4 maintenance stormwater, right? And so that was there, I guess the other thing is like, you know, we're talking about expenditures though, like, you know, yes, the district management fees are ongoing, but like 16,626 for the 80,000 for Apache, that should not be ongoing. But another big one, you know, we've got, where was it? The Spyglass Management, right, that's 135,000, we might have 135,000 next year, that one will go away, right?
yep,
And so, you know, and we still have $82,000 left in right-of-way improvements, like, there is definitely still some buffer, I think, within our budget. You know, not relying on interest income to be good next year. If interest income is good next year, great, we've got some more room to play with.
Right.
But I see that we've still got some way to go find our leak and get that fixed.
Yeah.
And then, once that's done, that's you one time, we have space for going in next year and talking about like replacing the water tanks. And so, I mean, I think we've got some latitude here as we go forward. We have to be careful, but I think we've still got some latitude, because we're not really, I mean, Taylor, come on, my rough look at this, we're not really dipping into the operating reserve, like, we still have a fairly robust.
Yeah, so absolutely, and we had talked about this when we were setting the budget, that we were comfortable dipping a little bit into that this year. Obviously, you've got your financial advisor here too. Again, if you all decide to move forward with that bond application, you have to make sure your reserves are solid, otherwise
Yeah.
that rating may change. And so that's the other thing just to be mindful of. Again, maintenance is maintenance, and you have to do some of these things, but there are some one-time costs in here that I hope next year we can kind of dwindle down. Lisa and I have already had this discussion, but again, totally understand that there's gonna be some years where you're gonna have to spend some money, but year over year, we just have to be mindful of that if we're gonna move forward with a bond.
So I thought there was an annual cost for BGE.
There is, but it's
Is
not
that $1,200
135.
or something
I
like
thought it was
that?
eight.
$8,000?
That was 5 or 8, like, it's
Yeah,
much
but
smaller.
Yeah, it's not significant.
Well, we won't have it
We
yet,
won't
because
have
we're
it
in the
until
stand-up
they-
phase.
yeah, so
So
they-
that budget line would go down the annual cost, you basically knock off about 130,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the right of way is that we keep dipping into it, but the fence is looking like crap. So what are we gonna, when are we gonna?
we can talk about that in the budget, when we start doing the
Yes.
budget in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to talk
We have
about
to.
that.
Yeah,
we definitely
absolutely.
need
That
to do
was, where was it, there was a thing in here about
Yeah, you.
fence work, hold on,
You do have one for fence, it's 150.
you have a separate,
Because we are doing periodically fence repairs, I saw.
Yeah, several.
yes, and I think we still got some capacity there, so
Oh, there it is, 613.
yeah, so, I mean, and so, you know, we've still got, and that one's, see, we amended down to 55, we
Yeah.
actually spent, we're nearly the end of our budget, right, so, I mean,
So hopefully
If we
we
were
don't
to-
spend 55,000.
well, but the thing is, like, with that, we're getting close to the end of our fiscal year, right, I mean, we're, what, September
Right.
1, right, so like,
Yeah,
at this point, you know, absent some kind of major event, we shouldn't be doing a lot of major fence repairs, we need to budget them for the next cycle.
Right.
And hopefully we'll have a storm cleanup next year.
Hopefully not, I mean, that would be the other thing on
Got
that one.
Yeah, level, okay.
Like, how many dead trees that were in bad shape are now gone? Like, some of these things are wiped out, like, how many more trees can fall?
Okay,
Yeah. Easy on that.
let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of the resolution to the amended
It's the
budget?
amended budget, right?
Aye.
Resolution,
Aye.
Resolution in the budget.
I'm just gonna abstain, just because of my vote on the contractor, the position.
Okay.
Instead of just saying no?
Right.
Ursula, sorry to circle back. Under finance, item D is the direct deposit for payroll.
Yes, thank you.
And so I just wanted to, obviously bring that up to the board for your approval today. This would be applicable for all board members who are interested, but also your patrol officers. They would also be able to use the system. They have direct deposit right now, but we have to manually do that through your bank. and we also still have to do all of their W-2s and things like that, so this would encompass all of that. The cost is $50 a month, which again makes up for all of your IRS filings plus all of your W-2s, which right now we're doing that at an hourly rate.
So we'll save money.
So save money there for sure, and then there's a one-time setup fee, but again, you'll just pay that one time, and then you'll have to pay that again, and it's like $300.
So the checks are clear instead of 2 months later. So you know-
Right, or a loss, like I did. Okay.
It's been working great, we love it, obviously it requires you to go in and set up your direct deposit information, but then it's done, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to approve item
Motion.
17?
Second.
Second, okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Oh, wait, that was
That
the
was
budget or the?
15D,
I
15D.
thought y'all voted on that already.
We did that, this is 15D, the client
Yeah, it was
services, right?
15D.
Okay,
Sorry, Ursula, is that correct? Is that-
yes, sorry, I messed that up.
So that was a motion.
And we all in favor? Aye.
Yes,
Yeah, did we get a motion?
Yeah.
You made it in David's second.
Yeah, okay,
Which days?
so I'm gonna go, I think we've covered everything, I'm gonna go to legal, I think we covered quite a bit under legal, but Sean, help me out here.
Yeah, I think we have one directive here, if memory serves, that has been satisfied. The second one here is texting and Texas Public Information Act. Robert, I think we wanted to keep this one on here. I think the proposal that we talked about last time was possibly acquiring an additional texting line to copy. Was this that we discussed last time?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna brainstorm and then maybe talk about that, but I would like to, at some point, loop in the texting among residents to directors and director to director and all to the GM. That way, we got a nice and easy.
Okay,
Texas
let's do a little bit more research on that and look at numbers, because I think that's what we're gonna wanna see, is how much it's gonna cost. And put that in the budget. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, did I miss anything else, because I know we jumped around a lot.
We need to do
Fire
restricted
protection.
covenants and
The fire
fire.
protection.
And I have my GM contract.
And do we still need Premier?
No, you can go.
Oh, let me give you.
You need to,
Oh, you need
Maybe
to,
at least talk to Lisa and
Okay.
Keith or.
So, now I'm sorry, can we do fire real quick here?
all right, we're gonna do fire.
Which
This
item,
is-
agenda item is this 36?
You have a
Yeah,
motion to
36.
approve.
This, I don't think this is the new agreement, this is the existing agreement.
Oh, is
So
it,
this
is there
is-
something changing?
I haven't seen, I think we've heard from them, is that right?
Yeah, they reached out to me, I don't think we can vote on anything yet, so we don't have to do
Yeah, no,
one.
this
So
is
let's
more just,
can't-
this is more just signposting, knowing that this is coming up.
I mean, Ursula, have they met with you yet? Okay, cause I remember we went to that meeting and they were like, oh, we'd like to talk with y'all.
They do want to meet with us, and I'll have Lisa set that up,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so 36, we discussed.
33.
33, oh, that is tabled, but, we're tabling it only because Sean has been extremely busy with other cool stuff. But, I do wanna give a directive to Lisa. It expires on the 15th, you guys are just be wrapping up your season. You're gonna be going into the storage area.
We'll just be getting the rest of our stuff out and
Yeah.
then just hitting the shed.
So even though we're gonna approve this at the July meeting, you have, approval to go and do all that. And
I'll
Lisa
work
knows
with
that.
you, I'm available whenever you need me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you said, your GM report.
Yes, so my GM report is actually in the packet. If you guys have any questions on that, I can answer. What I'd like to go into is the Williamson County Fire Marshal's inspection for Tomlinson Pool, as well as the guard shack and the pump house. You will have that in your packet. I do have a couple of the items that are already completed. The fire extinguishers have been upgraded, and those have been taken care of as of June the 21st. We did make sure that the sign has already been hung. The 911 call box is now working.
Oh, good.
And the only thing we're working on now is just gonna be the electrical, which obviously we have the other contractor out, so we'll get an electrician in, preferably Syntec, since they are able to work with us during the daytime. And that's my report for right now, if you guys have any questions on that.
Thank you. All right, anything else? I don't think we were doing meeting notes, right? We're gonna come back and talk about
I
that.
think we agreed to move
Well,
away from that.
we're gonna see.
I think
next
Sean
month.
was gonna try to make a legislative style 7 minutes.
Okay, then do I have a motion
To adjourn?
No.
Well, no, we gotta do restrictive covenants.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Sorry, that was,
Uh,
I like,
Getting away from that.
we didn't get around to that. You gotta do restrictive covenants.
Darn it.
We need to go into executive session for that.
Okay, Taylor, you don't have to hang out.
Yeah.
There's two signatures on here.
It might not be that one.
Hopefully not, but we've got some stuff we gotta have discussed.
We wouldn't go for little stuff.
It's important.
Are we,
Go ahead.
we ready?
Well, I think first he's making, you need to make the motion for us to go to executive, right?
Well, I just think,
Yeah.
Well, okay.
can we just stay here?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, because everybody's gonna leave.
Oh,
Alright. Can you turn?
Oh, okay, okay. No, he's, Sean's saying we gotta
Alright,
go.
no, can't.
Because we're not ending the meeting.
Okay. You wanna say your thing? You go.
Hey,
We're
Mark.
going into executive session. Right?
No, I think we're pretty much done.
Okay, Chris, are we done now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we just, came out of executive session, no decisions were made. Director Johnson.
Do I need to restate my directive?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to direct, Will to send another letter. Do you want me to say the address?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to 2700 Hopewell Court.
No, oh, yes, sorry.
And to be sure, on South Walker, I will go ahead and follow up regarding permitting processes.
Yes.
Thank you.
With the city of Cedar Park and potentially whether the county has any subdivision rules that could control that.
Okay, good. Send it direct.
Great, was there anything else that I missed on the agenda, because it looked like I missed a couple things.
Fire
I think
protection
we got-
agreement, is that gonna be tabled till next time?
We did.
That's just kind of signposting that it's.
Okay, very good. That's the only other thing that you have.
Okay, and then,
Motion to adjourn.
second,
Sorry.
Second.
okay,
All right.
all in favor?
All
Aye.
in favor?